Novel Pub Pro. Dual Cultivation, WN, Chapter 2. Suffering to find a single partner. Hey look, that's Su Yang, the idiot who decided to court senior apprentice sister Xing despite being aware of her partner. Didn't senior apprentice brother Yan have a death match with him today? What happened? Look at his robes, it's covered in blood. Does this mean that the death match has already been settled and that Su Yang won and Yan Ming is now dead? Impossible, he's only at the 3rd level of the elementary spirit realm whilst Yan Ming is at the 6th level of the elementary spirit realm. Such a wide gap, even I wouldn't dare to imagine winning, let alone that good for nothing Su Yang. Then why is he still alive? When two enters the stage for a death match, they have to fight until one dies. I have never heard of both fighters surviving after a death match. Let's go ask him. The disciples spoke to each other as they watched Su Yang walk through the sect with a bloodied hole in his white robe with a calm expression, almost as if he was unaware of the grave injury on his chest. Hey, Su Yang, you bastard. How did you survive the death match against Yan Ming? A group of disciples blocked his path, halting his steps. The disciples' action quickly roused the attention of those around them, and they became the center of attention. I do not have the time to play with kids, scram. Su Yang refused to give them another glance and walked around them, dumbfounding everybody there. Since when did the idiot become so daring and arrogant? To think he'd disregard the faces of so many disciples at once, did he finally go nuts? Su Yang, take one more step and you will pay. The one leading the group suddenly roared, startling everyone. However, despite his threatening words, Su Yang continued to walk, not even turning his head to look, completely ignoring them. You fucking bastard! Veins appeared on the forehead of the disciple who shouted, and he chased after Su Yang with his fists tightly clenched. In the midst of taking his second step, Su Yang suddenly snapped his head to look at him with a narrowed gaze filled with killing intent. His horrifying gaze that seemed to be sharp enough to make a hole in a large boulder froze the disciple's movements and caused him to tremble uncontrollably, almost as if he was watching a hungry beast on the verge of pouncing towards him. Plop, the disciple's leg turned to tofu, and he fell to the ground. Even the disciples behind him began shaking their legs, looking like a crowd of clowns dancing in the cold. HMPH, a bunch of fools, Su Yang coldly snorted and continued walking. Was that, really Su Yang? Or did they mistake him as Su Yang? How could that possibly be Su Yang? Although they may look similar, that noble air that surrounded him was completely different than the useless Su Yang that I am familiar with. Right? Su Yang always has this idiotic expression on his face, but that handsome man just now had a sharp and serious face. They are two completely different people. The surrounding disciples began gossiping, some even laughing at the group that decided to stop him. Was that really not Su Yang? The disciple that had fallen to the ground thought to himself, feeling puzzled. Could there really be two people with nearly identical features in this sect? Su Yang's beastly gaze reappeared in the disciple's head, and he quickly dismissed his doubts. That was definitely not Su Yang but someone who looked like him. The idiotic Su Yang that he knows of would never dare talk back to others, let alone threaten them with that look. Upon reaching his living quarters within the outer court, Su Yang was greeted by another handsome young man in front of the door to his room. Su Yang? You actually managed to survive in a death match against Yan Ming? The young man had initially thought that he was looking at a ghost when he noticed Su Yang walking towards his place from a distance. But now that he was standing in front of him, there was no way that he could be a ghost. From the previous Su Yang's memories, Su Yang recognized this young man. He was his roommate, Tang Hu. I am not feeling so well, so I will be resting in my room. Do not bother me. Su Yang walked into the house without giving him another word. Tang Hu watched him walk past him with his mouth wide open. Good heavens, he mumbled out loud. He really is alive. Su Yang directly went into his room after entering the house and began organizing his thoughts. That old man, what did he do, really? He looked into the mirror hanging on the wall, and memories of his childhood appeared in his head. This is clearly my own body when I was young, but how come I do not recall ever being in this place? Did I actually reincarnate and only regain my memories after getting stabbed in the chest by a sword? To get injured like that, I am really too weak the way I am right now. Su Yang is currently 16 years old, and he has been a disciple of this profound Blossom sect for nearly a year. However, despite being in the sect for nearly an entire year, his cultivation has barely progressed, let alone a breakthrough. Outer court disciples like him who have only recently joined the sect would not receive any assistance from the sect and has to find a partner by themselves for dual cultivation, where two people of the opposite gender indulge in sexual intercourse for cultivation. Once he becomes an inner court disciple, then he may request the sect to find him a suitable partner. However, Su Yang has not been able to find a partner for himself since joining the sect despite his peak quality features. He was extremely handsome, no doubt, handsome enough to seduce the moon god's wife in his past life. Many female disciples, even the senior disciples, fought to be his partner at first, but when they found out that he had severe mental issues with zero talents, they quickly ignored him. No matter how handsome he was, in this sect where their growth depended on their partners, nobody was stupid enough to risk their future just because he was handsome, not to mention the countless other handsome young men and women in this sect. I have been gifted another life by that old man, but this kind of life. Aiya, Su Yang loudly sighed. To think he, the most handsome man in the world in his past life, where countless peerless goddess and jade-like fairies would stand in line just to be his partner, would be suffering to find a single partner in this sect with thousands of young maidens. If I am still in the same world, then there is a chance that they might still be living in this world. Su Yang's gaze flickered with a profound light as many peerless figures appeared in his mind. I will find them and have them in my embrace once again, and I will not let them go this time. However, before any of that, I must first fix this tarnished reputation of mine.